Hi everyone, welcome back. This video is a bit of a work in progress, so there's going to be lots of different clips and vlogs and all sorts, because basically I thought, let's reread Twilight as an adult. I might regret this completely. I feel like I need to revisit it and just see and remind myself what the hype was all about, because I kind of can't really remember it. I remember some of my kind of feelings when I was reading it, but not entirely. Do you guys feel the same? So I thought together we could explore and reread Twilight. Now, I actually used to own the whole set of Twilight, and I am now realizing, since I decided to do this video, I'm realizing that I got rid of, well, I say got rid, I donated that entire fucking set, which is really annoying because now I've got to go and buy, I'm not going to go buy the whole set. I don't know if I will continue to do the other books in the series, but I just want to revisit the first one, Twilight, which meant I had to go and buy Twilight again. And when I went online to buy it, it was just, you know, the original cover. That's what it looked like when I ordered it. Guess what arrived? I hate this. Why do you do this? Why are you putting the film on the cover? And then it even says, now a motion major picture. The fuck is this? This is not what I ordered. Anyway, it doesn't matter, it was £3.50. But I'm livid. Which means I'm not taking this book outside. This is going to stay inside. I'm going to have to do this whole reread inside or in my garden. I can't take this out. Also, just so you know, it's out on DVD, 6th of April 2009. I'm so annoyed that this is the cover. But anyway, here we go. So, welcome to my Twilight reread. But to start off this introduction to the video, let me just read you a little bit from the first chapter. I'd never given much thought to how I would die, though I'd had enough reason in the last few months, but even if I had, I would not have imagined it like this. I stared without breathing across the long room into the dark eyes of the hunter, and he looked pleasantly back at me. Surely it was a good way to die, in the place of someone else, someone I loved, noble even. That ought to count for something. I knew that if I'd never gone to Forks, I wouldn't be facing death now. But, terrified as I was, I couldn't bring myself to regret the decision. When life offers you a dream so far beyond any of your expectations, it's not reasonable to grieve when it comes to an end. The hunter smiled in a friendly way as he sauntered forward to kill me. That was your preface. That's the beginning of the video. Let's go. Hello, it is my first day of rereading Twilight. Please excuse how I look. It's the first period day, so if you're lucky, I actually brushed my hair. But I'm not wearing any makeup and I look like I'm dying. I kind of am, to be honest. I've made a bit of a dent. I've started. I've also started doing this thing that the book tab girlies do, just to like reread you some bits so you can reminisce with me. Okay, so Bella is in Forks now with her dad, or Charlie as she calls him, and it's funny because it doesn't say why she's there. Her mum's just like, she's just going because she's just going. I know we find out later on, but in my head from the film, was her mum going traveling? I think we find out later that it's something else. So Bella is now in Forks with her dad, and she's like, I need a car because I need to get around. He's like, oh, I bought you a truck. And then she's like, well, what age is it? Does it work? Like, I need one that's reliable. But she was talking earlier on about how that her and her mum had to pull money together to get her clothes that like weather clothes for Forks, because she's used to being in Phoenix, which is hot. You can't be that fussy. Money's tight. I think as an adult rereading this, I feel like she's being a bit of a sport brat, but like, your dad just bought you a truck. He's not gonna buy you one that's just gonna break down. I mean, he might. So she's had her first night at the house, and now she's at her first day at school. It was there, sitting in the lunchroom and trying to make conversation with 7 curious strangers, that I first saw them. So that's when she first sees the Cullens and the, what are they called? The other ones have got another name. Hale. Did you know that? The Cullens and the Hales? Anyway, let me tell you how Edward is described in the beginning. The last was lanky, less bulky, with untidy bronze-coloured hair. He was more boyish than the others, who looked like they could be in college or even teachers here rather than students. So they're all at the lunch table, and it says, they're all looking away from each other, away from the other students, away from anything in particular, as far as I could tell. So they're just like, just not looking at each other. It's so weird. I feel like I'm gonna be really horrible about this book, but it's because as an adult, it totally hits different. I think I remember how I felt about it when I was younger. I know I don't feel that way about it. It's also in this first chapter that Edward's being weird. His eyes are really dark. You know, he just like walks in and he like, or like they touch, or can he smell her or something? He acts really weird and he like disappears from school for a whole week because we don't know yet, but he disappears. I think it's in the next chapter that he comes back. once he's gotten over whatever it is he needed to go over. The mum's going to Florida because boyfriend is a ball player. Edward's also been MIA from school for a week, which I think we did we discuss that already in the first chapter? Oh yeah, okay, so we did. So he's been MIA for a week, but he's back. Don't know where he went, don't know what happened. The other thing I noticed was the dynamic between Bella and her dad. She like comes home from, she's the one that has to go food shopping. I don't know, maybe it's just me. She's the one that has to go food shopping because he can't cook, and then she has to like do her schoolwork, and then she cooks dinner for them, and then does like all the washing up while he goes and watches TV. Anyway, I just thought that dynamic was a little bit weird. Her mum's also quite overbearing because she hasn't emailed her in a couple of weeks or a couple of days. So her mum's like, oh, something must be going wrong. Dynamic between, I'm sorry, I'm doing my skincare. The dynamic between her mum and her dad's really weird. I don't know. Jump scare. Maybe because I'm an adult, it feels strange. Yeah, I'm aware this is for men, but nothing's for men only. I feel like her parents, or at least Charlie, should be a little bit more of like a father to her. I don't know. Oh, and the other thing is it starts snowing in Forks, and Bella's never seen snow apart from on TV, so it's snowing, it's a snow day, everyone's having lols and having snow fights. Bella's not impressed, she doesn't like the snow. But whilst Bella is admiring her snow chains that her dad put on her before he went to work, this is the scene where that van like goes to pummel into her, or like skids on the ice basically, and nearly squishes her. Bella can see Edward standing with his family like by his car, and he's not near her, and then all of a sudden he's at her side. You're impossibly fast.
You're impossibly fast and strong.
So he's by her side and he stops the car, truck, whatever it is. I can't remember, he even just said what it was. He stops the vehicle, squishing her with his shoulder, and he's made like a hand imprint. She's like, what? Like, how did you get here so quickly? You literally right next to me. We'll learn this later on, but obviously he's like master gaslighter. He's like, no, I was standing next to you the whole time. She's like, no, you weren't. He's like, yeah, I was. She actually does hit her head on the pavement, so she ends up in a neck brace, in an ambulance, on the way to the hospital. That's where we meet Dr. Cullen, and he says she's absolutely fine, she can go home, she's not got a concussion, she's all good. Again, Edward's there and he's like making sure she's okay. But Bella's just super suspicious of Edward, and she keeps saying like, you weren't next to me. And he's like, no hun, I was next to you. She's like, what are you trying to hide? It was a high-pitched screech and it was fast becoming painfully loud. I looked up, startled. I saw several things simultaneously. Nothing was moving in slow motion the way it does in movies. Instead, the adrenaline rush seemed to make my brain work much faster, and I was able to absorb in clear detail several things at once. Edward Cullen was standing 4 cars down from me, staring at me in horror. His face stood out from a sea of faces, all frozen in the same mask of shock. But of more immediate importance was a dark blue van that was skidding, tyres locked and squealing against the brakes, spinning wildly across the ice of the parking lot. Whoa. It was going to hit the back corner of my truck, and I was standing between them. I didn't even have time to close my eyes. She actually was super excited to go to school that day because she was excited to see Edward. She likes him dark and mysterious, apparently. That was the first night I dreamed of Edward Cullen. So now is the time of the ball. Is it a ball or like a spring dance or something? Everyone's asking her. So Mike's asked her, Eric's asked her, Tyler, who nearly killed her, has asked her. She said no to everybody because apparently she's going to Seattle on that weekend. So Edward's been quite silent, but now he is talking to Bella and he's like, it would be better if we weren't friends. So obviously he's trying to give her a way to get out of this friendship because obviously she doesn't know what he is just yet. Bella's been dreaming of him, so she's really smitten. I think she's going to find it hard to not continue this friendship. Oh, this fucking cover. Bella decided that she's not going to try and stay away from him, so she's going to just embrace being his friend. So they've been chatting at lunch on a table together. And he's like, what do you think I am? Like, what are your theories? She hasn't said this, but she's thinking something between Peter Parker or Bruce Wayne. And then he tells her, oh, we should skip school. Like, skipping's really fun. She's like, no, I'm not going to skip school. Or skip class, rather. But the class that they're about to go
go to is biology. They're doing like they're pricking their fingers basically, and I think she hates blood. She hates the smell of it, she hates the sight of it. So everyone starts pricking their fingers for a blood drive that's coming up, and she faints basically. So she gets taken to, I think Eric tries to take her to the nurse's office, but Edward's there. He's like, I'll take her. So he carries her to the nurse's office. Long story short, she's fine. So Edward helps her get excused from class or from school for the rest of the day, and then he drives her home. But meanwhile this is going on, everyone's talking about the trip to the beach that's happening, and she has invited Edward to the beach, but he's just like, I don't think that's a good idea. We're at the beach. I mean, it's not sunny or anything, but we're at the beach. We're having like lolsy fun. I don't know why I'd forgotten this. This is where we first meet Jacob. We don't actually meet him like in the film right at the beginning when he's with his dad, Billy, and they're giving Bella the truck. She's only just met Jacob now. He's just turned 15, right? So he literally was just 14. Something's mentioned about how the Cullens never go to the beach. Like they're not allowed like in that area on the reservation. So she wants to get some more information about that. So what she's thinking of what she does is she flirts with Jacob, and she feels really bad about it because she's older and she's not, well, at this point she's not into him. So she flirts with him to try and get him to open up. So she takes him on a walk. I mean, that's real. That's really weird. Anyway, she takes him on a walk, flirts with him, then he opens up about the theories and like the legends of the Cold Ones and how they made like a treaty with his people. He's 14, he's just turned 15, he's a baby. But then maybe I feel that way because I'm older now. So when I read this, when I was like, I don't know, 18? No, I don't know. It wasn't so bad, but now I'm older, I'm just like, this is really weird.
So she's back home from the beach, and that night she has a really bad dream, and in the dream Jacob's there and he's like, run Bella, run, and then he suddenly like is on the floor and he's turned into a wolf. Edward's there and he's like sparkling and he's like, Bella, come with me, and she's like, absolutely. So she wakes up from that dream and she's just like, she actually tries to distract herself for a while, which works for a little bit, and she's like, I need to go on Ask Jeeves or whatever it was back then. I need to go on some search engine and have a look and see what I think of these legends. So she's on the search engine, she's typed in vampire, she's scrolling through, and then she finds like an A to Z about vampires, but there's nothing in there that talks about the kind of vampires that she thinks Edward and his family are. I listed again in my head the things I'd observed myself: the impossible speed and strength, the eye colour shifting from black to gold and back again, the pale frigid skin, and more. She's comparing what she's noticed with what the internet is saying. Could the Cullens be vampires? Well, they were something outside the possibility of rational justification was taking place in front of my incredulous eyes. Whether it be Jacob's Cold Ones or my superhero theory, Edward Cullen was not human. He was something more. So she's absolutely clocked on to something's going on here, and then she goes to the woods and has a bit of a think as well. But then the next day it's sunny, and we all know what that means. Edward won't be there, she won't see him. So it's a sunny day, she's absolutely loving it. She gets to school, he's not there of course, the whole family isn't there. She's getting a little bit obsessive, although I don't know, maybe you just would. Literally all she's thinking about is him. She's searching for him all the time. She's super depressed and let down when she doesn't see him. Also, what I'm thinking is, why hasn't she not figured out that like if he is a vampire like she thinks, then of course if it's daylight or sunny he wouldn't be there. Maybe she'll clock onto that really soon, but in the meantime she's getting obsessed. She is suckered in. They've not really known each other that long, but I guess that's what vampires do, right? This is also when Jessica and Angela want to go dress shopping for the ball or the dance. Even though Bella isn't going, she's gonna go with them and help them pick out their outfits. Now we're dress shopping with Angela and Jessica, and Bella's getting a little bit bored, so she's gonna go try and find a bookstore because she wants to read more about vampires. Anyway, she finds one but doesn't go in, so she carries on walking. She walks past a group of men, one of the most scariest things in the world. She walks past a group of men and they're like catcalling, walking now off the main strip behind like warehouses. What the fuck is she doing? And then she sees some of them behind her, so she keeps trying to like fast walk, getting away from them, and then she thinks that she sees the road up ahead, and then the rest of the men
are at that entrance. They've basically herded her. This might be the actual most scariest part so far of the book. But one of the other reasons why she ended up not going into the bookstore and walking around further was because she was actually looking for Edward, because she saw his Volvo, his silver Volvo parked, and she was just like, I wonder which way he's gone. So that's why she did go off walking. But of course, Edward to the rescue. He comes screeching in and he's like, get in! He flings open the door, she jumps in, and they go driving away. He's absolutely furious that she's gotten herself into the situation. For someone who is like quite a young girl, she didn't seem like that scared. She actually was in her mind thinking about back to her when she learned self-defense. She was getting ready to kind of make those moves before Edward showed up. What I am discovering is that Bella is not timid or shy, and actually in the second, when I get to the next chapter, like she's very open and kind of straightforward with her questions. There's no like shy, meek, batting around the bush kind of behavior that I feel like I'm used to with some of my female protagonists recently. Anyway, he's furious with her. She's like, I need to go back because Angela and Jessica are waiting for me, because he's like just driving like out of town. So they drive back, they go to a restaurant, Bella Italia, I think it was. And Jessica and Angela are just walking out. They're like, girl, where were you? And then they see Edward and they're like, oh, I see. Anyway, they've already eaten. They're off home. Edward's going to take her to dinner because he's like, you need to eat something and get some like sugar in you, because you're probably going to be going into shock. I think he read like Jessica and Angela's minds. That's when he knew that Bella was no longer with them, because he'd lost track of them, because he'd been keeping an eye on her, knowing that she always gets in trouble, something's always happening to her. Bella is telling him about the encounter with Jacob, and that he was talking about the Quillette elders. Is that how I say it? Quillette? And then it reminded her of him. He's like, go on. She was like, because they were talking about vampires, and he's like, you immediately thought of me. And she's like, no, he just mentioned your family. So yeah, this is all happening whilst they're driving home, but she does admit to what she did with Jacob. Because I don't know if you remember that she coerced him, basically. She flirted with him to talk about these legends. I got Jacob alone and I tricked it out of him, I admitted, hanging my head. He startled me by laughing. I glared up at him. He was laughing, but his eyes were fierce, staring ahead. Tricked him how? He asked. I tried to flirt. It worked better than I thought it would. Disbelief coloured my tones, I remembered. I'd like to have seen that, he chuckled darkly. I'm glad she admitted it, because, I mean, that was poor Jacob. Poor little 14, just recently turned 15, young lad. She's like, you're not human. He's like, no. So here's another one of her questions. But I am curious. My voice, at least, was composed. He was suddenly resigned. What are you curious about? How old are you? 17, he answered promptly. And how long have you been 17? His lips twitched as he stared at the road. A while. She also admits to the internet not matching what she knows. So she's basically just coming out of everything, really. She's not worried at all. She's not scared. They talk about him not having a coffin, why he can't be out in sunlight. Honestly, she's just like super chill about all of this, which I just don't remember, because in the film, she's all like, I don't know, I just imagine her, I don't know, the Bella from the film is just not this Bella. She's finally been dropped home, and this is her final thought for the evening. About 3 things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how potent that part might be, that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. The next morning, he picks Bella up for school, and there is no other siblings in the car, so it's just literally him and her. And he's like, Jessica wants to know about last night. She's gonna interrogate you. And she's just like, oh, for God's sake. She wants all the goss. And then they're sitting at the lunch table together, and she's kind of continuing to ask questions, really, but mainly he's asking her about Seattle, and does she actually want to go to Seattle and not the ball? And if he'd have asked her, would she have said yes, because she turned everyone else down? And she's like, probably I wouldn't have turned you down. But he wants to know if they can go somewhere that's not Seattle at the weekend, because it's going to be nice weather. He says the weather will be nice, so I'll be staying out of the public eye, and you can stay with me if you'd like to. And you'll show me what you meant about the sun? I asked, excited by the idea of unraveling another unknown. Yes, he smiled. We're coming up to the sparkling vampire part. Woohoo! But Edward has admitted that he is breaking the rules. So there's been times where Bella was sat with him or been with him and she's caught the siblings like staring at them. He's obviously not doing something that he's supposed to be doing, but he cares for Bella, and I think he's very much falling for her as well. Okay, we are officially halfway
through the book. I am pleasantly surprised by this book. It's actually a really nice teenage romance book, romantasy, I guess. One of the first romantasies. I like Bella in this book. I was very surprised by that too. I'd forgotten about Bella from the book because it had been so long since I'd read them, and I'm just so used to seeing the movies and the memes, and like that is what I think of Twilight. I don't think of the actual story, the book. And even Edward sounds really cool in this. He's then later described as like a Greek god. He's bronze, liquidy eyes. He is described very, very handsome and very sure of himself. And even Bella is very sure of herself. Obviously, there's character development and it will happen throughout the rest of the books. I do remember is it the next one? Is it New Moon, when he just disappears? That really fucked me off. Like, the way that she spirals is crazy. It was really fucking annoying. But that is it for part 1 of rereading Twilight. Has this been fun? I'm gonna continue reading it and do the part 2 regardless. But for me, it's been really interesting to go back and reminisce and relive the books compared to the movie. Most of all, I was shocked by Jacob. The fact that we didn't meet him till so far in. And at this point, Bella has no attraction to him. No, nothing. There is nothing. I know she flirted, but that was just to get questions out of him. It wasn't like anything no actual feelings there. Although now I'm thinking, like, the next one, does she just feel attracted to him because he comes back with muscles? Like, that's a little bit shallow. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along this memory lane journey with me rereading Twilight. That's part 1, and part 2 will be up next week. I'll see you then. Bye.